Giannis. Right now, Giannis needs better teammates, and not just in the more talent sense, but in the way a championship team actually functions. The current starting group around him, it's a chemistry experiment with bad ingredients. Spacing is the biggest issue. Giannis thrives when there's room to move and pass, but with guys like Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. out there shooting below league average from deep, defenders don't have to stretch out. That clogs the paint and crushes his driving lanes. Then there's the lack of offensive creators. Kevin Porter Jr.'s okay, but he's not running a playoff offense. Gary Trent's a shooter, not a playmaker. Kuzma's not breaking down defenses. Turner's solid, but he's not handling the ball. That means Giannis is doing everything: scoring, passing, initiating, and that's exhausting over time. Defense doesn't save them either. Turner protects the rim, but the perimeter's shaky. Gary Trent and Kuzma don't exactly scare elite wings, and when Giannis sits, the team drops off a cliff. Negative net ratings, bad rotations, and inconsistent role players drag it all down. The lineup synergy just isn't there. If they want a real shot, they've got to get at least one consistent shooter, a true secondary creator, and a wing who can defend without collapsing the system. Nikola Jokic. This guy needs voter fatigue to disappear. Voter fatigue is real, and it's quietly creeping into how people see Jokic's greatness. He's already got 3 MVPs, and even though he keeps dominating, you can make a real case he should have 5 awards. Since Larry Bird's 3 straight wins back in the 80s, no one's done it. The media voters crave new stories, and Jokic's calm, efficient game doesn't feed that. They want fireworks, not surgical precision. His numbers last season were absurd. Nearly 30 points, over 12 boards, and 10 assists a night, but still, he lost a close race to Shea by just over 100 points. That's where fatigue shows its face. Voters subconsciously want something new, so even flawless consistency starts to feel boring. Jokic is expected to be perfect every night, and the tiniest dip becomes he's slowing down. He doesn't dunk over people, he dissects them, and somehow that works against him when voters crave flash. Even his coach admitted fatigue might have cost him votes. To fight it, Jokic has got to make his seasons so overwhelming that ignoring him feels ridiculous. Keep winning. Keep shattering efficiency records, and force the conversation back to performance, not novelty. The guy doesn't need to reinvent himself. Voters just need to remember dominance isn't supposed to get old. Chris Paul, his resume is loaded. 11 All-NBA nods, 9 All-Defensive selections, 2nd all-time in assists and steals, and still starting every game 2 decades in. That's historic output, but there's still one thing, dragging on his legacy like an anchor: no championship. With all that sustained excellence, it's the gap that keeps him in the almost tier of greatness. The ring isn't just a shiny piece of jewelry, it's the one thing that would lift Paul into the company of Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. Without it, he's stuck in the same frustrating category as Charles Barkley or Karl Malone. People constantly mention what he's done, but always with a but. That missing title becomes the asterisk on an otherwise airtight legacy. He's had chances. That Suns finals run in 2021, that Houston squad that nearly knocked out Golden State in 2018 before his hamstring gave out. He's never just missed the playoffs, he's been inches from the summit. What makes it harder is that he's often elevated teams that weren't quite built to win it all. Still, in basketball history, that final box matters. A championship would close the book cleanly, not as a footnote, but as a full stop. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Luka. He's been stacking MVP level seasons for years, yet still hasn't won one. In 2024, he put up nearly 34 points, almost 10 rebounds, and over 9 assists per game, but finished 3rd behind Jokic and Shea. He got 4 first-place votes. That's it. Despite showing up on almost every ballot, he's stuck in the always the finalist, never the winner zone. The issue? It's not just stats, it's perception. Voters like narrative. Luka's excellence has overlapped with dominant years from other stars. He also fights uphill against factors like team inconsistency, missed games, and media momentum leaning toward others. Even when he has elite numbers, his vote share stays spread out across 2nd and 3rd place ballots. But make no mistake, he needs that MVP. Without it, his legacy risks being miscast as incomplete. All-time greats like LeBron, Curry, and Giannis have at least one. For Luka to sit at their table, he needs the same hardware. To finally win, he'll need to post a season so dominant, it's undeniable. His team must rack up wins. He's got to stay healthy, and the narrative has to be framed early. No more almosts. Luka's resume deserves the official stamp. Kevin Durant. He's got 2 rings, both from that Monster Warriors run, but that's exactly why people keep questioning them. Those titles came while playing alongside Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. Every time someone ranks all-time greats, KD's name gets slapped with that. Yeah, but those were on a super team tag. Until he wins one elsewhere, that sticker isn't coming off. Winning a title outside Golden State would completely change how people talk about him. It'd show he doesn't just need a historically stacked roster, that he can lead his own group in a different system against a deeper league and still come out on top. It moves the conversation from he joined them to he built it. That's a big difference. It also helped push him into the company of guys like LeBron or Kawhi, players who proved themselves in multiple cities. Right now, critics say KD never won without a cushion. A non-Warriors ring shuts that down, but time's working against him. He's in his late 30s. He's had injuries, and his teams, since Golden State, Brooklyn, Phoenix, now Houston, haven't had the same level of stability. The window's shrinking, but if he gets that one ring without Curry, his legacy skyrockets. Victor Wembanyama, he already led the league in blocks in back-to-back seasons and became the first rookie ever named to the all-defensive first team. He finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting as a rookie and was the clear favorite the following year, until he was ruled ineligible after only playing 46 games. That injury-shortened season cost him the award, despite averaging nearly 4 blocks per game. But this isn't just about numbers. Wemby needs a Defensive Player of the Year. It's the one award that would cement his defensive dominance and erase any doubts that he's more than just hype and highlights. It quiets those who think he's a flashy shot blocker without the substance of elite defenders like Gobert or Jaren Jackson Jr. Still, he's got work to do. He has to stay healthy. That 65-game minimum is a hard line. He also needs to keep showing he's not just blocking shots, but anchoring an entire team defense, disrupting offenses, switching onto smaller players, and avoiding foul trouble. Winning a Defensive Player of the Year would validate the buzz, put him in elite, historical company, and make it clear he's not just a unique talent, he's a complete defender. Without it, the narratives stay open. With it, they lock in. Joel Embiid. The difference between his current career and an all-time legacy could hinge on one thing: more truly healthy seasons. In over a decade, he's never played 70 games in a year. He's missed nearly 400 games. And the pattern keeps repeating. Dominant stretches, then long injury absences. In 2025, he only played 19 games before knee issues shut him down. But when he's healthy, he's unstoppable. He dropped 70 points on the Spurs in under 37 minutes. He's put up seasons with 27 points and 13 rebounds. Production that only a few big men in history have matched. In 2024, the Sixers were 29-13 before he got hurt. When he's on the court, he changes the math. What a healthy season means isn't just playing a lot. It's sustaining elite usage, staying active late into the year, and anchoring his team without collapsing mid-run. If he does it, he silences the what-if crowd, boosts his career totals, and shows he's not just peak. Moments, he's full season dominance. It's not just about winning a ring. A healthy Embiid reshapes how his entire era is remembered. Without that season, his story risks staying incomplete. Steph Curry. Don't get me wrong, Jimmy Butler is a legendary player, a Hall of Famer even. But at this point, relying on Jimmy Butler to be the clear number 2 scoring option just doesn't cut it. 17.5 points per game sounds decent, but when Curry's facing double teams and running through traps every night, the offense needs more than decent. Butler's efficient, sure, over 50% from the field, but with a 3-point percentage barely over 30, he's not spacing the floor or striking fear from deep. That scoring gap makes Curry's job a lot harder. With no second guy consistently putting up 20 or more a night, defenses load up, and suddenly Curry's forced into tougher shots, quicker fatigue, and predictable late-game sequences. In the playoffs, that's where teams get picked apart. When there's no reliable secondary threat, the whole system leans too hard on one leg. It's not just about volume, it's about pressure. The second scorer has to take some off. Butler's output leaves Curry exposed, especially in crunch time. The Warriors either need someone who can create, shoot, and absorb defensive attention, or they risk another season of isolation-heavy possessions, with Curry dancing around 2 defenders and hoping someone else gets hot. If they want to contend, that scoring help can't be optional. It has to be real. Pascal, he's proven he can be the engine of a title team, but in Indiana, his ceiling rides on whether Tyrese Haliburton is healthy. When Haliburton's on the floor, Pascal averages over 20 points with solid efficiency, while Indiana's offensive rating soars past 127. That's elite territory. It's not just about numbers, it's about structure. Pascal thrives as a secondary scorer, not as a primary creator grinding through double teams. Haliburton's playmaking keeps defenses honest, opens driving lanes, and lets Pascal operate with clean reads. Without him, Pascal's forced to initiate more, which drags down his efficiency and shifts him into a role that blunts his strengths. A healthy Haliburton gives spacing, rhythm, and less wear on Pascal's body over the course of a playoff run. In the finals, Pascal's all-around production held Indiana together while Haliburton was limited, but it came at a cost. More usage, more responsibility, less room to operate. For Pascal's prime to hit its highest gear, Haliburton has to be fully operational. That combo gives Indiana dual threats, helps preserve Pascal's two-way impact, and makes the team harder to scout. His legacy hinges on how far that partnership can go, and it starts with health. Anthony Edwards. He's already a 3-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, and just averaged over 27 points per game. He's got the highlights, the swagger, and the playoff wins, including that historic comeback against Denver. But without a finals appearance, his resume still has a ceiling. Right now, he's seen as the guy who might take the leap. Getting to the finals would prove he already has. This isn't just about stats, it's about legacy. Every great scorer eventually needs that breakthrough run. Without it, he risks being remembered like a hyper-talented guard who never cracked the biggest stage. In 2025, he got close, but in the West Finals, he dipped under 20 points 3 times. That kind of inconsistency under pressure gives critics ammo. The Timberwolves have never been to the finals. No organizational precedent. Edwards has to carry the weight of making history while battling teams with more playoff muscle. That means staying healthy, producing every night, and pulling the roster along with him. One finals appearance would change the entire narrative. It raises his ceiling, reframes every future season, and shows he's not just a highlight machine, he's a franchise cornerstone who delivers when the lights are brightest. He needs it. Now, Kawhi Leonard. This guy needs health like the rest of us need sleep after a double shift. Since joining the Clippers, he's missed almost half their games. That's nearly 200 missed games, compared to only 241 played. And if you zoom out, he's missed close to 290 regular season games in the last 8 years. He even sat out the entire 2022 season. The knee issues, quad problems, and that recurring inflammation aren't doing him any favors. His longest full season stretch, just 74 games, and that was way back in 2016. Now, when Kawhi's actually healthy, he's a monster. 21.5 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 3 assists per playoff game across 146 games. In 2019, he was basically unstoppable with over 30 points a night and near double-digit boards. He even put up 39 points on 15 for 19 shooting against Denver this year. That kind of efficiency turns playoff games upside down. But without consistent health, there's no chemistry, no rhythm, no long playoff pushes. The Clippers end up reshuffling lineups and overbuilding the roster to cover his gaps. He needs multiple healthy seasons, or those what-if conversations are going to follow him forever. Devin Booker. He's already carrying enough weight to qualify for a moving company. His offensive load is massive, and with Phoenix funneling so much through him, it's no surprise critics keep asking how long he can keep doing this solo. Even though he's one of the most efficient scorers in the league, the guy's still stuck being doubled every other possession. And when the defense collapses, he's forced into tough shots because, well, where else is the ball going? That's where Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks come in. Except, not really. Green's still developing, and while he flashes upside, he's not scaring playoff defenses yet. Brooks brings energy, but let's not pretend he's the type of player who can go get 25 on demand. Neither of them gives Booker the kind of breathing room he needs, and when they disappear, Booker's left alone out there like it's a 5-on-1. This setup turns every loss into a referendum on him. Critics say he can't win big, but they ignore the lack of reliable backup. Without legit scoring help, fatigue creeps in, efficiency dips, and playoff chances vanish. He doesn't need superstars next to him, but a consistent, self-creating second option, that's non-negotiable if they want to go anywhere. Cade Cunningham. He's sitting in a prime spot, and not taking advantage of this soft Eastern Conference would be like ignoring free money on the sidewalk. With aging stars, roster shuffles, and injury gaps in the East, the path's wide open, at least for now. Detroit finally cracked the playoffs with 44 wins, and Cade led that charge, putting up over 26 points, 9 assists, and 6 boards per game across 70 healthy outings. That's not just good, it's momentum. This is the perfect storm for him to solidify playoff chops. The first round was tight against New York, and had a few moments gone differently, Detroit could have been playing deeper into May. If Cade uses this opening to push past 1 or 2 rounds, he changes his entire narrative from breakout guard to legit postseason leader. That changes how the league, media, and front office view him. But this window won't stay open forever. If injuries hit or the East gets stronger again, this chance disappears. He's got to keep that production steady, limit mistakes, and elevate under pressure. Detroit must give him more tools. He can't be the only weapon. If he seizes this moment, he might just skip a step in the usual rise and claim his spot early. Jalen Brunson. At this point, anything short of a championship would feel like a missed assignment. He's already led New York to their first Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years, grabbed All-NBA honors, and even took home Clutch Player of the Year. The guy has been all in. He literally gave up tens of millions so the Knicks could stay flexible. That kind of sacrifice means expectations aren't just high, they're loaded. And let's be honest, this is New York. The last title was in 1973, and every good era since has collapsed under pressure. If Brunson brings one home, he doesn't just get a parade, he becomes immortal in Knicks lore. But without it, he risks getting grouped with close, but not quite names. The media won't care about the effort if there's no ring to show for it. The window's open now, but it won't stay that way. He needs help, consistent, scorers, healthy teammates, a scheme that plays to his strengths. He can't afford fatigue or late game letdowns. Every year that passes ups the pressure. If he can cash in now, with the city watching and the stage set, the story changes forever. A championship would cement everything he's built and make sure none of it fades. LaMelo Ball. If he doesn't end this playoff drought soon, he'll start being remembered for what he didn't do. The Hornets haven't seen postseason action since 2016. That's 9 straight seasons without a playoff berth and 23 years without winning a single series. That's not just a rough stretch. It's the worst playoff drought in the entire league. And LaMelo, he was supposed to change that. He's the franchise centerpiece. Drafted 3rd overall, paid like a star, and given the keys. But so far, the return has been flash, not substance. If he can finally carry Charlotte into the playoffs, he stops being a highlight generator and becomes a franchise savior. That kind of shift matters. For awards, for legacy, for respect. This isn't just about validation. It's about attracting free agents, showing the front office that building around him works, and ending the narrative that he's all flair and no finish. But he's got to stay healthy. He's missed more games than he's played lately. Charlotte has to surround him with real shooters, defenders, and depth. And he's got to grow. Fewer turnovers, better decision-making, actual leadership. If he pulls it off, he redefines both himself and the most irrelevant franchise in basketball. Jamal Murray. He's won a ring, he's dropped massive playoff performances, and still, no All-Star nod. Not one. That's getting harder to explain. Despite helping Denver win the title in 2023 and being Nikola Jokic's co-star through deep playoff runs, he's never gotten that regular season recognition. And yeah, that matters. Without an All-Star appearance, the gap in his resume just hangs there. For future awards, Hall of Fame talk, even commercial deals, it's a problem. It feeds this narrative that he only shows up in the playoffs, not over 82 games. An All-Star nod helps balance that out and gives his supporters real ammunition when the comparisons start. But it won't be easy. The Western Conference is loaded with guards. He's had injury issues, slow starts, and his numbers don't always pop right away. He's got to start hot, stay efficient, and put together stretches where he's clearly leading Denver, not just riding alongside Jokic. He also needs media momentum, games in the 30s or 40s that make headlines and tell voters he belongs. If he finally breaks through, it changes everything. He won't just be the guy who turns up in May, he'll be seen as elite from October through April, and that changes his whole legacy. Thompson, he's electric in transition, a relentless finisher, and a defensive pest. But without a jumper, he's playing with one arm tied behind his back. Through over 130 games, he's made just 33 threes and sits at 22.1% from deep. That's not just cold, it's sub-freezing. Defenses know it too. They sag off, clog the lane, and dare him to shoot. And because he barely takes threes, his attempt rate is around 13%, opponents don't even have to guess. Inside the arc, he's efficient. Over 55% shooting last season is no joke. But when less than 10% of his shots come from mid-range, and he hits just over 38% there, it's easy to see he's still relying on finishing more than finesse. Without a jumper, he can't punish defenders for ducking under screens or exploit mismatches on the perimeter. It limits lineups and makes him easier to scheme against late in games. Adding a reliable pull-up or catch-and-shoot jumper would change everything. He'd stretch defenses, open driving lanes, and take less wear by not always crashing the rim. It'd also bump him into conversations with elite two-way wings. Until that shot comes around, he'll be exciting, but incomplete. James Harden. He's checked almost every box you can think of. League MVP, scoring titles, all-star nods, all NBA teams, and a mountain of stats. He's one of the most productive offensive players of the last 20 years, but without a championship, his legacy's got a hole the size of a playoff collapse. For someone with his resume, it's jarring. That ring isn't just a bonus. It's the one thing keeping him from escaping the almost great category. His postseason history is littered with questions. Quiet Game 7s, sluggish closeouts, missed chances. Just last postseason, he dropped 7 points on 2 of 8 shooting in an elimination game. People remember that. They don't care about the 30-point nights in round 1. Without a ring, Harden gets grouped with legends who never won. And for many, that's a polite way of saying they fell short. He's also working against time. Age, injuries, and team volatility make the path harder every season. Even if he gets close again, he'll be under a microscope. Anything less than a title will just reinforce the narrative. Bam. He's been the backbone of Miami's defense for years, but after 5 straight all-defensive nods, he just got left off the list in 2025. That's not just a snub, it's a flashing yellow light. Voters clearly saw something slipping, even if the metrics still love him. His numbers weren't bad at all. Over 18 points, nearly 10 boards, 4 assists, more than a steal per game. But that all-defense omission, it says the league thinks his elite defensive status might be fading. That's why he needs to get back on the team, not just to silence the doubters, but to protect his legacy. If he strings together more all-defense seasons, he's on track to be one of the best two-way bigs of his era. If not, that drop-off becomes a permanent wrinkle in his resume. It also impacts contract value, leadership credibility, and how seriously opponents take Miami's defensive identity. He's got to clean up transition defense, sharpen his rim protection, and dominate matchups that get national attention. Because once voters start to forget how impactful you are, it's hard to get that spotlight back. If Bam wants to stay in that elite tier, this next season can't just be solid, it's got to be undeniable. Trae Young, the numbers are there, 24 points and nearly 12 assists per game last season. He's already Atlanta's all-time assist leader and has broken records for threes and total offense. But it's not enough anymore. His stats look great on paper, but the Hawks are stuck spinning their wheels. If he doesn't push this team to real playoff success soon, he risks becoming one of those good but empty career stories. Right now, he's labeled as a volume guy, flashy, high usage, but not a proven winner. No conference finals appearances since that 2021 run. If that stays his peak, the narrative around him doesn't evolve. And with his style, high pick and roll, high variance shooting, heavy usage, his body and efficiency won't hold up forever without more help or adaptation. He's got to clean up the shot selection, raise those percentages, and start trusting teammates in crunch time. That also means Atlanta needs to build smarter around him. Real defenders, consistent second options, better coaching structure. If they keep falling short, the Hawks will face pressure to shake things up. But if Trae leads a legit playoff run, he flips the whole narrative. From stat chaser to winner, from fringe all-star to foundational piece in the East. And that would change everything. Sengun, the offensive stuff, already legit. He's crafty in the post, a brilliant passer, and his footwork would make ballet teachers jealous. But if he wants to go from nice piece to foundational star, the defense has to level up. Right now, he's good. Top 5 in defensive rating, top 3 in defensive win shares, but good isn't great. And playoff caliber bigs, they have to be great. He's got the frame and instincts to anchor a defense. But the modern NBA isn't just about size. It's about mobility, versatility, and reading the floor like a chessboard. That's where the cracks show. He struggles when switched on to quicker guards. His help rotations aren't always crisp, and off-ball actions can leave him one step behind. Add some occasional foul trouble, and there's room to tighten things up. If he fixes that, improves lateral movement, cleans up decision-making, holds his ground against contact, he becomes a true two-way weapon, and that's a serious ceiling raiser. Without it, he'll keep getting boxed into the fun on offense. Cover him on defense category, but with it, he becomes the kind of player you build a defense around, not one you have to protect. And that changes his trajectory entirely. Scotty Barnes, he's got the stats, the contract, the title of franchise player, but now comes the part that actually matters. Winning. He just inked a massive extension. He leads the team in everything that looks good on a spreadsheet, and he's the guy the Raptors are clearly building around. But in year 4, with 0 playoff appearances as the lead option, the spotlight's getting hotter. This isn't about effort, it's about proof. Carrying Toronto to the playoffs shifts his whole narrative. Right now, critics can say he's just another stat stuffer on a lottery team. But if he leads a real playoff push, suddenly he's validated as a rising star who translates numbers into wins. That means more than highlight dunks and box score lines. He needs efficiency, better late game execution, more consistent shooting, and leadership when games get tight. The Raptors are rebuilding, but Barnes isn't off the hook. He has to elevate the roster around him. That's what stars do. Damian Lillard, the man is Portland basketball. He's the all-time leading scorer, the face of the franchise for over a decade, and the heartbeat of the most iconic Blazers moments of this era. From Dame time daggers to loyal pressers, his legacy was built in the Pacific Northwest, and that's why it matters how he finishes. The Bucks chapter, it never quite fit. Sharing the stage with Giannis shifted his role. He wasn't the offensive heartbeat, just a contributor. Then the injuries came. Blood clots, a torn Achilles. Suddenly this side quest looked like a detour, not a destination. Even Lillard admitted it never felt right, not being home. Retiring as a Blazer closes the loop. It's not just about symbolism, it's about legacy control. Staying tied to Portland means jersey retirements, statue conversations, generational loyalty. Walk away in another jersey and the story starts to blur. Was he a Blazer, a Buck, a rental in the ring chase? Players who return home for that final chapter, think Dirk, Kobe, Haslam, get remembered as one-team lifers. That means something. For Lillard, going back to Portland isn't nostalgia. It's narrative alignment. It's saying, this is where I built everything, and this is where I'll leave it. Kyrie tore his left knee ACL in March and missed the rest of the season. That injury didn't just cost games, it shook the Mavericks roster structure. Dallas had to plug in other guards to fill a crater-sized hole, and the chemistry shifted. Head coach Jason Kidd was quick to shut down rumors about a speedy rehab. Kyrie wasn't on the court at media day, and the team didn't sound too optimistic about his return timeline either. Before the injury, he was averaging nearly 25 points a game, and his absence was felt hard. The Mavericks had made the finals for the first time since 2011, and a big reason for that was Kyrie and Luka's partnership. With Luka now gone, Dallas is clearly banking on Kyrie to lead the new core. They gave him a 3-year, $119 million contract. That's not just belief, that's pressure. And if Kyrie wants to shut down those what-if stories about his career, this is it. He's got to come back healthy, stay consistent, and lead them deep. This roster was built around his skill set, and his return has to match that investment. The defense depends on him. The structure depends on him. Zion Williamson. Zion's biggest battle hasn't been against defenders, it's been against staying on the court. From foot issues to hamstrings to back problems, he spent more time on injury reports than on highlight reels. In the 2024 to 2025 season, he only played 30 games before the team shut him down with a back contusion. Over 5.5 seasons, he's played just 190 games. That's not a blip. That's a pattern. When he does play, the numbers are strong. Almost 25 points, over 6 rebounds, and more than 4 assists per game. But the lack of availability limits everything. Totals, growth, rhythm. His explosiveness is a weapon, but one that wears down fast when the body can't keep up. The Pelicans haven't been able to build real chemistry because they never know how long he'll be available. Lineups change, rotations shift, and the team never hits its stride. A title run? Forget it. If your star's only suiting up half the time, he's got to stay healthy. Not just for this season, but to prove he's a franchise piece long term. If he can't shake the injury tag, he risks becoming the biggest what could have been of this generation. Cooper Flagg, winning Rookie of the Year is more than a nice start. It sets the tone. If Flagg locks it up, that says he's not just a prospect, he's producing right away. It cements him as the top rookie of his class, which changes the way media, fans, and even teammates view him. You go from he might be good to he's already doing it. The Mavericks need him to stand out early. With Kyrie returning from injury, Flagg should get real minutes and space to operate. If he racks up points, boards, and assists efficiently, it won't just pad the box score. It'll feed the narrative. He's got to stay consistent, avoid long slumps, and keep those headline nights coming. Media coverage matters too. Highlights, features, debates. Those push his name to the top of every ballot. If another rookie takes off, it splits the vote and makes things trickier. But if Flagg owns the spotlight from start to finish, he's the favorite. This award affects more than just this season. It builds confidence, boosts endorsements, and strengthens his long-term image. Miss it, and doubters will bring that up for years. Win it, and it's the first line on a resume that could get a whole lot longer. Laurie, he's played nearly 450 games and still hasn't touched a single playoff minute. That stat alone puts him on a very short, very uncomfortable list. The Jazz just finished a 17-65 season, and somehow the biggest controversy was them sitting Laurie while he was reportedly healthy. They even got fined $100,000 for it. Utah's front office isn't just hoping he's the guy. They gave him a 5-year, $238 million extension. That's not maybe he'll get their money. That's make the playoffs now money. His all-star most improved season from 2023 raised the bar, but the years since have been scattered with injuries and a whole lot of losing. If he can lead Utah back into relevance, everything shifts. No more good stats on a bad team. No more questions about his ceiling. Playoffs change perception. They create narrative weight. Without them, his star status feels incomplete, like he's on the marquee, but not in the movie. Ending the drought would justify the contract, quiet the skeptics, and prove he's not just a rebuild stopgap. He's running out of time to flip the script, and the Jazz are running out of patience. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.